On this week's Tuesday Talk, we're talking about how to get your spouse or partner on board with living in an Airstream. I'm going to start off by saying, we've said this in the past, this life is not for everyone, so keep that in mind.
It's very true. It's very unique.
Yes.
It's not designed for all of us, but...
But there are probably more people out there who could do this and would enjoy it than actually think they could. And I was one of those people. So Steve had a more open mind, maybe because his parents had done something like this.
My parents had done it. I was dissatisfied with what I was doing for a living. I wanted to make a change, and I was willing to accept, I guess, more of a change than other people might, at least right off the bat.
And if you had asked me a couple of years ago about this life, I would have thought you were absolutely nuts.
Really, I would too.
Yeah. But what changed? So that's the question. When he brought up the idea, what got me on board? First, I was already kind of into tiny living, so that wasn't that big of a stretch. But I'd say what got me on board, and the way to get anyone on board with really any big major change, is the end goal. So Steve didn't come in and say, we need to sell all of our stuff and buy an Airstream and move in. That wasn't what he told me.
I'm sure that would have worked.
Yeah, that would have made me feel good. I've been like, yeah, haha, that's funny. No, what he said was, how cool would it be if we could travel full time?
And bring her home with us.
How cool would it be if we had a new backyard wherever we wanted to go? How cool would it be if we didn't have to go to work every day?
Yeah, and it began with travel. It didn't begin with the Airstream. No. We were toying with an idea of renting an apartment in a different area of the country every year and a half or something. We were seriously considering that because we like to travel. So we were thinking of the goal. So how do we get to that goal?
And that would mean living small. So we were already there.
Yeah, it definitely includes downsizing.
I think one of the big things for us was not having to get up and go anywhere, like work every day. That had been a big goal for us. And so the way I would recommend getting someone to consider this lifestyle is not to say, hey, I think we should do this. It's to say, where do we want to be? What's our dream? What would be the coolest life we could have? And if that is in line, it's going to be much easier. You have a goal, you have motivation.
But if you're not on board with the end goal even, then it's going to be really tough to drag the other person along with you, regardless of where that happens to be or what you're going to be doing.
And this is the same advice you'd give somebody for, say, when we stick to a very strict budget, and we cut our spending by a crazy amount when we first started this in order to make this journey, and we're sticking with that budget. And if one of us had come in, if I'm the budget person, if I had come to Steve and said, you can't buy camera equipment anymore because it's not in the budget.
Ooh. That would have been not so good.
No. But we sat down.
I would have rebelled and yelling would have ensued, and I would have probably moved out, and things just wouldn't have worked out so happily.
Yeah, no. Luckily, I am smarter than that, and instead I said, this end goal we're both working towards, I think this is what we need to do in order to save for it. Let's sit down and figure out where we need to cut back in order to do that. And naturally, part of that cutting back was the things we both really would have fought over otherwise, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, naturally, people are going to be defensive when you start
taking away their things they love or what makes them comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Pulling the rug out from under them.
But if the end goal is the same, I think it becomes easier to start to realize, okay, well, if we need to get to this goal by this date, we have to do this. We have to start making those changes now. And the things that you would have said originally that probably would have put that person on the defensive, they might actually start to come around and realize those things themselves. and then things just kind of work themselves out naturally, I guess.
We actually had someone ask. They said, me and my husband were planning to go out on the road.
My
a couple of
husband
years.
and
my
I.
husband and I, sorry. And he's on board with downsizing, but we have different ideas of what downsizing means. And she asked, how do I get him to understand that pulling another trailer behind our trailer or Class A full of stuff is not really the best idea.
Space is going to be your,
My advice for that is, again, you need to talk about your end goal. So, okay, you both are on board with traveling. You're both on board with downsizing. What are you trying to get out of this traveling? Where are you trying to go? Are you planning to come to big RV parks and stay for multiple months at a time? Because if so, towing an extra trailer
as
full
long
of
as they're
stuff,
big RV parks like KOAs,
we
where
see people here who have them.
you're going to be spending a lot more money, but you're going to be getting a lot more space too.
Yes, and then that extra stuff might be something you want.
Yeah.
But if you're planning to travel a lot, boondock, go to national parks or state parks, that extra trailer full of stuff or that extra space in that RV,
Where are you going to put it?
It's gonna prevent you from doing things, and it's gonna cost more. So it's really just a question of what life do you guys as a couple want to live, and so what does that mean in terms of what you need to get rid of? And that would be how I approach it, not the you have way too much stuff, we're downsizing, we need to get rid of it. More of a what do we want at the end, and what does that mean for now?
Yep.
Would you agree with that?
Yep. Things have to be as specific as possible. Time frames are also very helpful.
Yes.
So you don't have these open-ended, I want to retire early. Okay, well, what does that mean? Is that next week or is that in 5 years?
Yeah. Because that changes what you have to do, right?
For sure, yep.
I want to pay off some debt. I want to start traveling. I want to buy an Airstream. All of these wants are great if you can.
When.
Yes, the when is very, even if it's not an exact date, if it's in 2017, I want to, at least that gives you an idea of what your end goal that you're both on board with, a date that you're both on board with, and then a discussion about how you're going to get there. And whatever that entails.
Yep. And saving more money when, yes, that's a part of it by when, but goals need to be measurable so you know when you've achieved them. Simply saying saving money or reducing debt by 2017, yeah, you're going to naturally reduce debt if you pay off even a little bit of it. But if you don't give yourself some quantitative, if it's possible, measure to work towards,
it's a lot harder.
you'll never know when your goal has been accomplished, and you'll probably get frustrated and bored with that particular goal and move on.
So we had a more long-term goal of we want to retire early, we want to travel. And that wasn't really enough. Then we came up with we want to retire early and move apartment to apartment, which means getting rid of more stuff and saving more money because we had moved the date in on the retiring early.
Yeah, that got us closer.
Got us closer. And then we decided
but the moving,
on this.
the moving.
The moving would have been awful.
The moving's always a pain in the butt, yeah.
So then we decided on this, and that's when the ball started really rolling, because it was like, okay, we need to research how much Airstream's in what we're looking at spending, so we know how much we're going to spend, so we have it, because we bought it with cash. And then we were downsizing because we knew as soon as we found the Airstream, we were going to want to buy it, and we didn't want to store it. We were going to want to move in, which means selling the house. So it was this whole, it really got us motivated to do every aspect of this move.
We had a goal in mind. We had a time frame in mind. The goal was achievable. Once you have those three elements in place,
and you're all both on board with the same end goal.
Exactly.
Or at least the far end goal. I'd start far, work your way in with the getting on board set of stuff. But
yeah, and with those goals in place, the how do I get there becomes so much easier once those are known. It can be difficult getting those known.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not an easy process depending on circumstances involved in the situation, but it gets easier.
Yeah.
For sure.
It does. So now when we approach something that we think the other person might be less than on board with, like I've been rearranging our budget a little bit more, we know to go in with the why first. Not the how, not the what, not the you need to. It's the why.
Yep. It's the second to the last letter in the alphabet, but it's so important.
It is.
I love the why. It's cute, too.
So I think that's it for this Tuesday talk. I hope that's helpful. Everybody's situation is different, so we can't give much more specifics than that, but figure out your why, share your why, and then figure out the how together. And maybe that will help get people listening and thinking and coming up with the right path for both of you.
Absolutely. It does get easier.
Yep.
Just keep working it. Thanks for tuning in to another Tuesday Talk. Like, subscribe, comment if you like what we're putting down and you have something interesting to say, and we'll be sure to get back with you.
Yep. And if you have any more ideas for Tuesday Talks, questions, let us know and we'll try our best to answer them.
Yep.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.